Well, folks, hopefully this won't be a very long video. Didn't make one yesterday, so don't look for it. I was just busy trying to get things done. Anyhow, uh, I listen to the news people, and I listen to these people in Congress, lawmakers, and so on and so forth. They always want to say money, money, money. When at best, what we have is a currency, maybe a currency. It can be. I don't know how you can define it as money. And I don't know if you can even really define it as a currency. So let me explain here. Our the way our system's set up is we had a treasury, constitutional, legal treasury, and the treasury, okay, being constitutional legal, you had to have constitutional legal money. That would have been gold and silver. And we had that. We had that up until, what the hell was that? Like 1913. Then they hoodwinked you into, not us, but our forefathers, into a Federal Reserve System where it didn't, quote, take us off the gold standard right away or the silver standard. You still had silver certificates you could turn in, but they were phasing all that out. And then Nixon took you off the gold standard totally. And then the Federal Reserve really kicked in at that moment. Not as heavy as it is right now, but it did. Because now we could print with a corporation, not a Federal Reserve, not a Fed. It's a corporation, it's a for-profit corporation, and that's why I look at it like, how could that even be legal? How could it be lawful? It goes against the Constitution. But then they start making notes. Everything's a note, which is debt. And they want to try to say, well, this is a legal tender. Again, more of their bullshit words, legal terms, legal tender for all public and private debts. So now you have this currency, which is legal tender for all public and private debts. You see where I'm going with this? It's just a bunch of legal mumbo-jumbo tricksters screwing you into believing stuff. And these people, they get on here and say money, money, money. And they got all these people, because they say money. When it's not money. Notes are debt. And us, the owners of this country, never agreed to this. They shoved it down your throat. And even if they would have agreed to it, they would have lied to you and hoodwinked you into believing this horse shit. Okay? So the fact of the matter is that the whole system that we're talking about is illegal, corrupt. It's not constitutional. I mean, that right there, when it's not constitutional. Because I remember Greg saying, he wanted to get a lawsuit and sue him, and he saw, he said how it could, he didn't see how it could lose. And if you present the lawsuit correctly, I believe that's true. Because the Federal Reserve is not an entity of the United States. See? The Treasury is. And the Treasury has to follow the Constitution, which is legal gold and silver. But because we went the other way, don't have to follow that, and we just create stuff out of thin air. So we had death notes, which kill everything, because it's debt. So, and then came from that, in 1913 roughly, if I remember right, the IRS came out. And if you listen to these people, the IRS, if you listen to Obama and a bunch of other people get up there, and even congressmen, they'll say contribution, your contribution, your contribution, your contribution. Well, how can a contribution be a contribution? Usually contributions are, more of a, you give so much, and that's your contribution. It's like, you contribute to a, United Way or Salvation Army. You give a donation or a contribution. Again, more of their legal trickery. And they take it. They don't ask, they take it. And then they'll take more. My attitude about the whole system's this. It's an illegal system. We, the owners of this country, have nothing to do with it. I mean, this is what they said you're going to use, and they say, well, here it is. And the population's not smart enough to understand a lot of this, so they just go along with it. And then they want to sit there and say, oh, the American people. That we got to pay for this and we have to pay for that. And the American people, all this money has been, put into the Social Security and the USA aid and all this and that stuff and blah, blah, blah. It's money that, quote, you owe, say. Well, I look at it like this. We're owners. We didn't approve this. We actually had somebody in there that is being manipulative, lying, and breaking the law. Okay? Now, if the SEC walked into a business and said, holy crap, look at all this, what you've done, some people would go to jail. They'd be fined. Stuff would probably be confiscated. Because the funds weren't being used properly or legally even. So, my attitude about it is real simple. The people that signed these bills, they're responsible for the bills. And when I mean bills, I mean money that goes out. They're allocating money to go here, here, and here, and they signed the bill. You didn't sign it. They think they signed it in your name and for you, but they didn't. It's erroneous. It's illegal. Because the Federal Reserve's not legal. Oh, they try to say it's legal, they made it legal and all that. But when you break the Constitution, I don't see how it can be legal or lawful. Now, they'd, of course, get on here and, oh, well, this is how this is and this is. They'd really never explain it to you. But they want to tell you that you owe something that you've never owed. They want you to pay with things that aren't real. Creates a bigger mess. It's debt. And you can never pay debt back. Think about that. You're just creating more and more debt. That's all you do. Fractional reserve banking. You go borrow $100,000, they can loan that out 10 times. Plus interest. With real money, gold and silver, you can't do that. Okay? Can't do that. It's either there or it's not. You see, and that's part of the reason they did what they did is because they can grow the economy this way. They can grow the world economy that way. With gold and silver, you can't. You could. but there'd be like instead of a silver certificate being $1 and you go get $1 worth of silver, it'd be like, well, here you got a silver certificate that's quote $1, but you get, instead of an ounce of silver, you get maybe, a fifth of a little ounce, and it's so tiny you can't see it. I mean, like I said, $1 become like worth a tiny little fifth of an ounce of silver or something, or even worse. I don't know. But you're still in a debt system that way, say. And that's what I'm saying. They couldn't grow the economy the way they've grown it with gold and silver, so they had to come up with this to really rob your future, rob this and rob that. And then they think you're on the hook for it. I didn't sign anything. Neither did you. They signed it. They're on the hook for it. And this quote, the corporation, all the bullcrap they created is on the hook for it, not me. And if they seem to think they could come in and hoodwink me with a bunch of lies, and you, and a bunch of unlawful mumbo jumbo, who the fuck do they think they are? See, this is what I'm saying. There's going to come a day when the system does crash. It all comes down around your ears. And then they're going to take you into this crypto. It's worse yet. I mean, this shit it's even worse. If that's possible, okay, it's worse than what we have now. Worse. I mean, think about it. That stuff's even more manipulative and worth nothing than what you have now. I think you follow what I'm saying here. I think you got it. And that's all I wanted to get on here and say is, see, there was never enough gold and silver to go around. See, the population kept growing and getting bigger, not just here, but worldwide. And there just wasn't enough gold and silver to go around. I mean, 1,000 years ago, the population wasn't near what it is today. Did they have enough? Yeah, they had enough. That's pretty much what they bartered with was gold and silver. I mean, they bartered with other things, don't get me wrong. But, when kings and queens and stuff, this is why their faces are on there, because that was their, quote, money. That's how they paid for things. We don't pay for things except with debt. And like I said, debt's not taxed. It's a promissory note to pay you someday. See, you've never been paid in your life, okay, folks? Now, listen to what I'm saying. It's a promissory note to be paid someday. You've never been paid. And since you've never been paid, and you've been paid with debt, how the hell is that income? You see, and I believe this is why you'll hear Obama and a lot of these other people, senators and so on and so forth, say contribution. Say, because they know it's all debt and you've never been paid. It's a promise. See, the whole system is illegal. The whole system is bullshit. It's all smoke and mirrors. All their rules and regulations and crap that they make. Like I said, you have a Bill of Rights, okay? And our founding fathers said, okay, here's your Bill of Rights. This is just like a little small sample. Your Bill of Rights are just infinite. I mean, it just goes on forever and ever and ever. The more you can think of, the more you have. Government, this is it. This is government right here, okay? I don't have 4 hands, so I can't do it. I don't have 6 hands, really. But anyways, you got your legislative, judicial, and what? Oh, executive. 3. Each one has a specific thing they can do. in a legal manner that corresponds with the Constitution. You say that you've been sold down the road. The contract has been null and void a long time ago because of what they did. Yeah, the contract is null and void. You don't have a contract, say. And if they did have a contract with you, you're just say you don't have a contract with me because I just broke it. I just nullified it. I'm not participating. They do it all the time. So, anyways, that's all I got on here to want to say because I am so sick of listening to people talk about money. It's like, man, people, it's not. And you get it. I'm preaching to the choir. I know. But y'all have a good one.